Absolutely. Well, let's go over some of the things that you were mentioning. Like everybody's heard of Lake Geneva, but the Lake Geneva Mail Boat Tour. And I think I've seen video of this. It's where a bunch of college kids, they're jumping off a boat, right, to deliver the mail. That goes way back, doesn't it,
Yeah.
right? Many generations. What's going on there?
Absolutely, and it's funny. I actually had never heard of Lake Geneva until this tour, but it was populated by a bunch of wealthy Chicago folks who built these, gigantic mansions around the lake. And back in the day, we're talking over 100 years ago, they didn't have roads. Your mail had to be delivered by a boat, and so they've kept up this tradition. And I'm telling you, this was this was one of the best experiences I had on the entire Wisconsin trip, and it's the Lake Geneva Mailboat Tour. You go on this tour, they take you around the lake, you see the beautiful homes, but the kicker is they have, in my case, there was a young lady, her name was Mia, and it is a story. You can find it at Bill on the Road and on my social media channels. But yeah, you're right. She jumps off the boat, and you got to be in good shape to do this. The boat never stops, right? So they jump off the boat, they run, deliver the mail, they jump back on the boat while it's still moving, and it is fascinating, Mark. It was one of my favorite experiences. Just a really neat thing in Lake Geneva that folks can do every summer and in the fall as well. So pretty cool experience.
Yeah, I can imagine that with the young kids jumping on and off the boat, they say, "Okay, no alcohol the night before, please."
Right, yeah, and they're in shape too. I mean, the gal that I interviewed, she was a college hockey player, ice hockey player,
Wow.
and so at one point on the tour, they're running half a mile because you can't, the boat can't dock anywhere close on a particular stretch. And so they drop her off. The boat keeps moving. She's got to run and deliver the mail and be able to catch up with the boat a half mile down the road. I'm telling you, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Get those Nikes on. Did you take any sailing lessons in Sheboygan? I've seen photos of that. It's quite beautiful up there, right? Sailing lessons.
I did. I had this wonderful experience. If you've never been to Sheboygan, Wisconsin, of course, also right there on Lake Michigan, they offer this really neat program, and it's SEAS, SEAS, and for just $25, okay? $25. You can go out for a couple of hours with an instructor on a sailboat, and they'll teach you the basics of sailing. And it's not a special, travel writer special or a local thing. Visitors can go. So if you're in the area, look this up. $25. I mean, just to be out on a boat for a couple of hours on Lake Michigan. It's unbelievable. But they get you in, you learn all the different things you need to learn, all the terminology, and they have you, very hands-on. So the instructor is in the little boat with you. And the cool thing is these boats, Mark, they can't tip over, the ones that they use. So it's really safe, it's really relaxing, and you really get a chance to kind of be hands-on and learn to sail. I loved it. I thought it was a really, really neat opportunity.
No, absolutely. And the price, man, you can't beat that. Holy Toledo, man, $25. All right, now I'm a big fan of pie. I love cherry pie. And, around here, there's maybe, one or two good pie shops, and most are in the grocery store. I'll bet when you were traveling about that, man, you found like America's number one pie shop. Talk about that. What they have?
I did, yeah. So Stockholm, Wisconsin. This is back on the other side of the state. They kind of refer to it as the west coast of Wisconsin, right along the Great River Road on the Mississippi River there. And so, for 2 years in a row, Stockholm Pies. It's been rated the number one pie shop in the country. And what's wild is there's not only is there not a stoplight, I don't think there's a stop sign in this little town. It's, I think, like 70 people live there. It's so small. And it's part of a handful of different communities. I think there's 7 or 8 different small towns along this kind of stretch of the Great River Road. But Stockholm's really cool. A handful of little shops, but the pie shop, I went there, and it was packed. Like, people have heard about this now all over the world,
wow.
and they drive to this tiny little town to have the pie. I did 2 different pies. Cherry, that's one of my favorites too. Had that, absolutely fantastic, and tried a couple other their varieties as well. But yeah, super delicious.
All right, let's do this. We got to do a quick break. And when we come back on the other side, join us, drivers. Bill Cleveland on board, Bill on the road. He's got great books out, and he's giving you some ideas. It's a beautiful small town. Have seen photos of it right along the Great River Road, right? Beautiful place to go. What do you say?
Yeah, La Crosse was interesting because I found it was so welcoming, and I find that about a lot of smaller destinations, but in particular, it was one of those interesting places where it was really welcoming. There was a really great sense of community. I got invited to go to hear some live music one night down by the river. They have a really beautiful park with a really nice pavilion where live bands and stuff will play, and they set up food trucks and things like that, and so that was really nice. Jumped on a cool old time paddle boat along the took a ride up and down the Mississippi River to learn a little bit about the area, and then lots of great hikes for folks to if they like hiking and checking out the Mississippi River and some of the cool bluff areas. And some great restaurants, too, but very welcoming.
Yeah.
Really like
I would imagine, that maybe during the 4th of July, towns like La Crosse and Sheboygan really go way out. They go way out to welcome the 4th of July, and thousands probably go in. And looking at a note here about the Fox Cities region, Wisconsin, very cool communities. Man, you just sense that as America. That is good old USA. When you go to the Fox Cities region, what do you see, man? I bet some very unusual stuff, right? What do you got there?
Yeah, I'm always finding the unusual stuff, which I love, kind of quirky. You mentioned Fox Cities. I did a video kind of highlighting what I thought were 5 of the coolest things or most interesting things that you can see while you're there. And a couple of them real quick. So I like collections, like large, world's largest this or that. And I found the world's largest collection of glass paperweights in the Fox Cities area, which was kind of awesome. Cool. It's one of their big, really cool glass museum that they have in town. But also at their history museum, they have some of Harry Houdini's costumes and props from his magic shows, because he claimed Appleton, Wisconsin, which is part of the Fox Cities, as his hometown. Yeah, so you can see they have a really neat display exhibit there in the local history museum that you can see. And then they have really nice biking trails throughout the Fox Cities. They had a really cool old windmill. Actually, it's a newer windmill, but it was made to look old. It was called I think the little village was called Little Chute. But really neat things to see. A lot of variety. Yeah, a lot of variety around the Fox Cities region. Loved it.
I love that. I love that term, Little Chute. Oh,
yeah,
man,
that was Little Chute.
That's awesome. that is awesome. What about this town, New Glarus? So talk about that. Is that like going back in time, back to Switzerland, so to speak, Swiss heritage there?
It is, yeah. New Glarus. It's this tiny little town. It's not too far from Madison, Wisconsin, if you know where that is, and really known for its Swiss heritage. And I happened to be there at a perfect time. They were celebrating, they call it Volkfest, I believe. It's a celebration of Swiss independence, if I'm not mistaken. And so you're there and you're watching, these folks, they're all dressed up in the garb and they're playing the Alpine horn, which is that gigantic
of course.
horn. You've seen it. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but when you see it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so they've mastered that, and they're serving up bratwurst and
nice,
and just really a lot of fun, cool shops and some restaurant, not all Swiss food, I guess, but some German stuff as well, and neat little town, and and again, tiny town, tiny community. Very welcoming, and if you're near Madison, it's an easy trip from there to check out, and certainly worth hanging out on a maybe a weekend day, or just if you're passing through a few hours. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I love about that? That it's small town America. But in a big way, it represents the USA because that's where the heart and soul of the country was founded. Small towns, communities, and then, of course, the larger developing cities. And, the big cities are great. They offer a lot of attractions, a lot of great people. But like you're mentioning, though, Bill, in some of the smaller communities like Wisconsin, man, you're finding really genuine people. They want to talk to you. They want to get to know you, right? So well worth the trip when you get off the beaten path.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Absolutely. I absolutely loved it. There was one other spot, Kewaunee, Wisconsin, that I went to.
Yes.
They have the world's tallest grandfather clock and a historic tugboat from World War II, which were really neat to see there in town. But to your point about, just wonderful people and getting to meet folks, I got to go and tour one of their dairy farms, and it was really interesting to meet this family farm. They're still out there getting it done. Hasn't been taken over by a big corporation. They treat their people really well and the animals really well. And the advancements in technology, Mark, are stunning.
Amazing.
When it comes to farming. And so it was neat to kind of see that firsthand as well. So lots of great options all throughout Wisconsin.
Where are you going next, young